This round we're going to talk about, we're going from one extreme to the next. We're going from fishing cover with a chatterbait and up shallow and deep and all that. We're going to suspended fish. I've got a special feeling for this suspended deal and everything, because when I was fortunate enough to win the Forrest Wood Cup in '07, that's how I did it. I caught them all suspended. They were not on the bottom. And it was kind of one of those deals that uniquely, I mean, it worked out great for me for the simple fact that there was a bunch of my friends come from all over to fish that event. It was on my home lake. And they kept calling me and calling me and calling me and calling me about, why is it so tough here? Why does it stink? Why is it so bad? Why can't we get bites? I said, I don't know, it's just the way it's fishing right now. I wasn't gonna let anybody in on exactly what was going on, but that's one thing that it's not just where I live on that lake, it's on a lot of bodies of water. When you've got a bunch of your buddies that you talk with all the time, around all the time and everything, and they go out on different bodies of water and they come back and you're talking about how tough it is, how bad it is, 90% of the time when that's going on, it's because the fish in the lake you're fishing or wherever you're at are suspended. There's too many good anglers. There's too many ways to fish baits on the bottom. There's too many ways to get bites with the shaky heads, with the, with the football jigs, with the chatterbaits, with all kinds of things. If you're not getting, if the fishing is really tough at that time, a lot of the times it's because those fish are suspended. So when those guys went to calling me, because I hadn't made it over there for practice yet, they got to calling me and explaining to me how tough it was, how bad it stunk. So I get there at 1 o'clock on Monday, and I go out, and the first place I pull up to, I go over what I call, it was in August, and it's what I call old breaking holes. What happens is, in October, September, October, after the lake turns over, the water cools off, these fish will start surfacing a lot. They'll start schooling. Well, in August, these fish, when we fish that championship, and every year, these fish are there then. And they're schooling then. They're just not doing it on surface. The water's in the 90s, they're chasing this bait, but they're not chasing them to the surface. Every now and then, if you catch a good still morning and you're there at the right time, you'll see some shad maybe run and might see a boil. But you won't ever see them just up busting that time of the year because the water temperature the way it is. So that day I got there at like 1:30. First place I pull up to, I see them suspended in this tree. And I put it together and I start running old breaking holes. Well, I think I fished 2.5 hours and caught like 14, 15 pounds, and I quit. I didn't even fish. It was a week and a half before the tournament, and I quit. I mean, because I knew what was going on. I knew enough places. I knew how to catch them. But one thing about it, if you ever get on them like that and you get a deal you can run, like the first morning I pulled up to a place, I caught 2 or 3 big ones right off the bat. I go to my next spot and I pull up to it. I fire a spinnerbait. I'm catching them on a spinnerbait suspended in trees. I fire it out there and I'm reeling it. I mean, you can tell usually by the first bite how many's there. I mean, it just completely slack lines a 3/4 ounce spinnerbait, 25 foot deep. And I get him up, and when I get him to the top, there's this 75 largemouth with him, and they all look just like him. I mean, they're just going crazy. And on the outside, these dumb spots they're just darting in and out, schooling. They're looking for the bait, they don't know what's going on. And my partner and I catch 4 of them before they get away. But my point to that is, when you get on to suspended fish like that and you catch the first 1 or 2, 90% of the time you're going to pull them to the boat. And when you pull them to the boat, you're going to get 2 or 3 bites real quick, and then it's over. It's over. What happens is those fish spread. When they get to that boat, they spread. You usually cannot go back that time of the year during that day and get another bite. What has to happen is they go through the process. It gets all, you know, they get repositioned next morning on the normal feed that they're doing next morning. Pull right in there. It's like they've never seen the boat before. But for that day, it's usually over in that circumstance, in that situation. But, excuse me, man, that hamburger was good though.
Welcome to Bass University TV, an online video training course where you'll learn champion bass fishing techniques from pro anglers Pete Glusek, Mike Iaconelli, and their talented special guests. From on the water to in the classroom, you'll learn sound techniques and strong fundamental bass fishing skills. Watch hours of video content on multiple topics at your own pace for a low monthly fee. Cancel at any time. Information is power in the sport of fishing, so learn from the very best. Subscribe to Bass University TV today.